Good afternoon. I wish to thank all members of the press for attending our party first official press conference this afternoon. The purpose of this press conference is to inform or announce to the public the successful change of name, symbol and other constitutional changes of Parti Kerjasama Rakyat Sabah, our old name, where as of 6 July 2017, Parti Kerjasama Rakyat Sabah or PAKAR will now be publicly known as Parti Kerjasama Anak Negeri with an approved acronym Anak Negeri. The party would simply be called Parti Anak Negeri, in bracket Sabah lah, for Sabah. Parti Anak Negeri is a native-based but multiracial political party where all Malaysians, regardless of race or religion, of Sabah and Sarawak origins, and also Malaysians from Semenanjung who hold permanent stay status in Sabah or Sarawak, who subscribe to the party aims and objectives can be a member. So that means we are native-based, but multiracial in the sense that all Malaysians, regardless of race or religion, of Sabah and Sarawak origins, means they are born here. And Malaysians from Semenanjung also, who become permanent citizen here, bermastautin di Sabah atau Sarawak, and who subscribe to the party aims and objectives can be a member. This has been approved by the Registrar of Society. Although we are Anak Negeri Party, but the Registrar of Society has approved this part, that members from Sarawak, from Sabah, from Semenanjung, who now resides permanently in Sabah, are Anak Negeri members. Recently on the 8th, we were in Tinangol. We have a ceremony where we adopted the Chinese as an adopted brother and sister. So we adopt them into Anak Negeri. So we have a formal ceremony at the time. We receive the pau, and then we drink coconut together to symbolize our friendship, our brotherhood. And we don't want to be separated from the Chinese as well. We want to fight as one, as Anak Negeri Sabah. The following is our Anak Negeri 5-point core objective. Now this is important. I want to explain now what is our core objective of our core five only. Number one, we fight for unity, rights and dignity of Anak Negeri Sabah and Sarawak. And we want to fight the rights and dignity of Anak Negeri Sarawak, Sabah and Sarawak based on Article 153 of the Federal Constitution, where kedudukan istimewa Melayu, Semenanjung, Malaysia, tetapi Anak Negeri for Sabah and Sarawak. So kedudukan istimewa for Anak Negeri Sabah and Sarawak to us is very, very important. We want to take it literally. If the Melayu is in Semenanjung, it is Anak Negeri for Sabah and Sarawak. And although Anak Negeri means natives, we are inviting the Chinese to work with us, to help us, and we help them to work with us. We fight to protect and safeguard our position, rights and interests as Sabah firstborn. Anak Negeri Sabah Sarawak will fight against the divide and rule tactics which render them small, weak and powerless. We will fight any attempt to divide and rule. This is what is happening at the moment. And this tactic of divide and rule that is happening in Sabah is intended to keep everyone small, weak, and powerless. So Anak Negeri, Parti Anak Negeri will participate in election to create power block in the State Assembly and Parliament to influence policy decisions together with other opposition political parties of the same aims and objectives. That means we will work with other opposition political parties with the same aims and objectives to create a power bloc, a strong power bloc in the assembly and parliament. It also means to be in government. Parti Anak Negeri will fight to uphold the principle of religious freedom as enshrined in Batu Sumpah Keningau. Now, I would like to stress this to the press. When we talk about freedom of religion, everybody says, sudah ada freedom of religion. We are taking the literal meaning of freedom of religion as promised, guaranteed. I can tell you, the Batu Sumpah is a covenant. It's a covenant, okay? It's a covenant between the government of Malaysia and the people, the Anak Negeri of the interior. They ask for three things: freedom of religion, land must be under state power, and respect for their adat. So we believe that this covenant is important and legally binding. And we want to uphold the principle of religious freedom as enshrined on Batu Sumpah Keningau, the Keningau Old Stone. So that means we will fight for the thousands of natives, for example, who are Christian and Muslim, but they hold ISIS, that bear the word Islam, but could not change their religious status. They are being subjected to Sharia court, in and out for 20 years, cannot change, in creating difficulties for families. There are thousands of them. We respect Islam as the state religion of Sabah and Malaysia. There is no question about it. But we will make sure that our state law on religious conversion is consistent with the Batu Sumpah Keningau to ensure citizens are free to choose, change and practice their own religion based on their belief and personal conviction. So it's a conscience, personal conscience. We uphold and fight for freedom of religion for Anak Negeri, Sabah and Sarawak as enshrined on the Keningau Old Stone Malaysia Agreement and the Federal Constitution. We are also united with all Malaysians in Sabah and Sarawak to oppose Act 355, which is the Hudud law, because while all Malays in Semenanjung are Muslim, not all Anak Negeri in Sabah and Sarawak are Muslim. So you may implement in Semenanjung, but you cannot do it in Sabah and Sarawak, because the Anak Negeri are not all Muslims. Number 3, we fight to defend and safeguard the sanctity of Malaysian citizenship. Our government, mean to say, when we are in government together with opposition, oppose granting of citizenship to foreigners without due process. Mean to say, somebody must apply to be considered and to be approved. We will fight and stop the activities of illegal syndicates giving citizenship documents to foreigners. We feel that this government now is not doing enough. They are not doing enough to stop all these syndicates, and we believe it is still going on. But our government will use state powers on land and local government to deal with illegal immigrants and problems associated with it. Our government will reverse the change of political demography of Sabah. There is an attempt, I want to make this point, there is an attempt to change the political demography of Sabah. So the Anak Negeri will defend our political demography. When I said Anak Negeri, I'm talking about the Mamagun people, the Bajau Suluk who are Sabahan in the islands in Sabah, all di pesisir pantai kan, ini semua anak Sabah semua ini. And our Chinese brothers and sisters who are here even before independence. Together we want to defend our political demography. If there is any attempt to change that, we will fight. We may not be able to reverse it, but we can stop if we are in government. Our government will register the place of residence of all Malaysians of Sabah and Sarawak regions. So you already have IC. Yes, you have IC, card pengenalan. There is nothing we can do with the card pengenalan. This is a federal matter. But state government, we will amend the local government ordinance to require all citizens of Sabah origins to register their place of residence. So we can issue you a residence ID, a residence identification. If you are from this village, you must register you are from this village. Untuk memantapkan pengurusan JKKK and JKDB. In town is JKDB. Jawatan Kuasa Kemajuan Bandar, kalau JKDB kan. JKK is Jawatan Kuasa Kemajuan Keselamatan Kampung. So we want you to have two identification. One, you have a federal IC, which we cannot change, it's a federal matter. But we will use that power under local government ordinance to require our citizen in that local government, which we have the right, the Majlis Daerah, can register. The JKK can register. And I want the Ketua Kampung to attest that this is true, orang sana. And I want the DO to sign in all districts. So once we have IDs, once they want to apply a trading license, they must produce two IC. They must now produce the federal IC. I want them also to produce the resident IC. And the federal government cannot do anything about that. Why? Because it's state power. It's my power as a state government. You cannot interfere. I have sovereign rights, total sovereign rights on land and local government. So I'm doing this because I just want to improve the administration of JKKK and JKDB. So those without surat beranak, they have to fill in a form, okay, and they have to make sure they have to the necessary documentation to be approved by the DO as where your residence is. Yeah. Okay, the residence registration will serve as additional identification for genuine Sabahans. We will require all citizens in Sabah to present two identification on land transaction, applying for state job and applying for trading license. Purely for state matters. So you want to apply for state job, you want to apply for land, you want to apply for trading license, you have to bring your IC. But in addition, you must also bring your residence ID. Okay. Number 4, we fight to safeguard our NCR and native land. NCR is native customary. Now we are facing the phenomena of land grab. Do you know what happened now? I heard one district, 200,000 acres has already been applied by companies that we don't know where they are coming from. We are saying this. I'm saying this, that we are very suspicious about all these big companies applying for big land in Sabah. I don't know who is approving them, who is giving the authority for them to even register the application. Sometimes I don't even know why did all these big companies apply NCR land that is already owned by orang kampung for hundreds of years. It is happening in my own area in Ulu Sugut. 3,000 acres. People are living there for their getah, their kelapa sawit, everything, their house is there, only to find that their land now belongs to a big company. Now they have to go to court to fight their rights. when they raise arms, the police came and fight them. But now they are going to court. They have engaged a lawyer. Now, our first action, our government, we will freeze all applications by companies. I didn't say batala, I didn't say cancel, just freeze. To make sure that the application does not affect the NCR, the native customary rights of all Sabahans. We want to make absolutely sure. So within 100 days, beku dulu. Freeze. Because what is going on now is frightening. When one district, 200,000 is already being applied for. I'm not accusing hasil bumi, pejabat tanah, or dia of corruption lah. I'm not accusing anything like that. But there are suspicion this is going on. So we want to make sure that we want to protect our NCR land. So the second thing we want to do is we will amend the land law. We will amend the land law to enable us to register NCR. Mean to say, if I have a piece of land, 15 acres, I have my house there, I have my kandang ayam there, I have my trees, everything I have there, I have my rentis, my sempadan, then I have my agreement with my neighbors, and the JKK, Ketua Kampung sign, I want to have the rights to register at the land office. So we will create that they can register while waiting for it is being surveyed and you have an NT title. So when anybody who wants to apply land, the government must make sure it doesn't intrude into NCR. So by registering the NCR, we are providing proof of ownership. Unlike now, they give it to companies first, then you fight the company. Now different. The company can't even apply for the land because we have established our NCR rights. So we are going to do that. We are going to amend the land code to empower NCR landowners. We will do that to protect our NCR land. And we also want to set up the anti-tribunal. The Chief Minister said tidak perlu. But our government will set up the anti-land tribunal. Why? When there is a dispute about land matters, anti-land, the orang kampung cannot afford to go to Kota Kinabalu. So expensive. So by setting up the anti-land tribunal, the tribunal will go to Ranau. And the village, they can hear the grievances in Ranau. No need to go to Kinabalu. Like the case in Ranau, Ulusugud, they have to come all the way to KK. I can tell you, some of them tidak dapat tidur hotel, tidur di taman bunga saja. Kasihan. And then bila dia mau datang, semua pemilik mau datang. Siapa dapat tahan tunggu 2, 3, 4 hari di KK? So we want to set the land tribunal to serve the community. So we disagree with the Chief Minister who says, tidak boleh. We disagree. The moment 100 days we are in government, we will introduce this policy initiative to set up the tribunal. We also want to set up our anti-land bank. One of the frightening thing about anti-land now is that when our people short of cash, they go to the alung and they always put their land title as guarantee. Often, in 3 months, gone already. They cannot pay. So we want to have an anti-land bank. And this was first mooted out during the Mamagun National Congress launching, where I was the president, then I was the president. There is a demand from our members, the Mamagun National Congress, to set up the anti-land bank. So our government will set up the anti-land bank, where landowners who need money urgently can come to this agency, borrow 10,000 for instance, and put their land. The government is not interested in your land. They just want to keep your land, you don't give it to other people. So, say 5 years your children go to university. In 5 years, you only pay the interest. If 10%, say 100 ringgit per month. Until such time, you can now go and take back your land. You pay in full. After your children go back from university, then you pay the principal, or you can make other arrangements with relatives. But we want to make sure the land stay in the hands of the owner. So we want to do that because we want to use our power as Anak Negeri to help the Anak Negeri retain their land. Otherwise, we are losing a lot of land. Not only we are losing the right to determine the destiny of our country, we are losing also the right even to determine our land. So number 5, like all political parties in Sabah, we fight to restore provisions of Malaysia Agreement 1963, which is not complied and implemented. We are like any other political parties. We support them, but this is also our fight. But we are a little bit different. The government now has set up a review committee to review only one thing, the 40% income, Sabah's rise to the 40% income of the state. But within 100 days, our government will set up an intergovernmental review committee for Malaysia Agreement 1963 to determine the compliance of Malaysia Agreement 1963. And this committee, we will engage the best mind in the country to advise the state government. We will engage the Queen Counsel from England, expert in constitutional law, to advise the state government in this matter. We will pursue this matter. We also will send our team from Sabah. We just don't want to wait for Sarawak. They get their outcome and then we support. No. Not only we are sending our team to England, UK, we are taking the Queen Counsel from there to come to Sabah. Advise us. We will engage the best lawyers, private lawyers, also in Sabah. We will engage the top professors, history professors, to advise us what actually happened. There are 3 things that we want to know under review committee. Number 1, we want to know what was promised in writing and not in writing that compelled our independent forefathers to join Malaysia. I want them to find out apa yang dijanjikan bertulis, apa yang dijanjikan tidak bertulis. Yang kedua, the review committee will find out what are the constitutional changes that took place, both at the federal level and state level. We want to know apa yang diubah di peringkat federal dan juga state. Apa yang dia ubah. Yang ketiga, 3, we want to know what we can do now. What can we do now? Is there anything that we can do now? Can we really claim? Can we really reverse? We want to know the recommendation of this committee. Okay? It's a government committee, and I'm inviting my counterpart from Sarawak and from Semenanjung to be part of this intergovernmental committee to ensure transparency, transparent way of doing things. Okay? Now, the difference between them and us, they hold seminars, talk, things like that for 30 years already. We want action that can produce result. So we will bring the recommendation to Dewan Undangan Negeri, to the State Assembly. We will report to the State Assembly. And we want the State Assembly to vote whether to support or not support. If they support, that means the state government is duty bound to write to demand the federal government to comply. If there is a conflict, disagreement between state and federal, there is a constitutional provision which says any conflict between state and federal must be resolved through the federal court. This is a federal provision. So, we don't want to politicize. We are opposed to Sabah Sarawak Keluar Malaysia. We disagree with their move. We put our trust in the government system, the Mahkamah. So we are going to bring this case to the federal court. If we have to summon the federal government, we summon the federal government. But we will bring our demand, our conflict to the federal court. And we want the federal court to decide. And we will engage again our Queen Counsel, our top lawyers, our top historians, to be part of our team to help the state to fight for what is rightly ours based on the Malaysia Agreement. Remember, the Malaysia Agreement says anything that was promised, even unwritten, must be fulfilled. So I'm not saying anything about what is not fulfilled, what is not complied, because we are lay people, we don't know. So we will get the expert opinion, and when they come up with their statement, their findings, then we will accept what they have. For now, let's focus on winning the government first. We set up our government. I'm inviting all Sabahan. Let's band together, form a new government, a new perspective, a new vision, a new mission, a new way of fighting, not Keluar Malaysia, but fighting the power that has been holding us in this way for a long, long time. And it can only be done within the framework of the Anak Negeri, the Anak Negeri of Sabah and Sarawak. I would like to make this statement. Parti Anak Negeri will work with other opposition political parties of similar aims and objectives to achieve our 5-point objective. We will put our 5-point demand on the table. Somebody has 50 perjuangan, 26 perjuangan, 15 perjuangan. No. We want to limit to 5. Why? If we are in government, the Mumagun give me 20 seats. The Chinese give me 10 seats. And maybe Warisan can get more than 10 seats. We are in government already. We are not fighting to become chief minister. Anybody can become the chief minister as long as they agree to our 5 demands. We will not negotiate our position. We negotiate on behalf of the rakyat the achievement of the 5 conditions first. Siapa yang setuju ini 5? Sign dulu. After they agree, then we talk about position. Bukan ketua menteri pun tiada masalah. Kan? But I want to promise to the rakyat, unlike other political parties, after election, they only talk about berapa dapat menteri, berapa chairman, berapa timbalan, berapa ini. We are not like that. After pilihan raya, the first thing we do is, ini dulu syarat. We have to serve the rakyat, fight for the rakyat, fulfill the aspiration of the rakyat. Once we have already won the state government, only then we can negotiate with the federal government on federal matters, parliamentary matters. That is a separate matter altogether. We are not anti-federal. We will work with federal government. We work with federal government. Because we need to work with a government at the federal level to bring prosperity to our state. Now we disagree with UMNO. I disagree with UMNO. I disagree with Barisan Nasional. It's not government, it's the political party, the policy makers that we are fighting. You know, a government does not contest election, right? It's a political party. So a lot of people confuse between government opposition. No, government does not contest election. It's the political party. After bubar, mana the government we are only caretaker. All political parties sama rata. So every political party has the right to be part with the government. So that is my statement today, and I'm open for questions. Thank you.